Hi guys, so today we're doing a full walkthrough of my remake of Careless by Dusky. This is a snippet of what we're going to be going through. This project is available to download from my Patreon. Let's get on with the video. Great, so let's start from the top. We've got the low end group, so this is the kick and the bass. Together it sounds like this. On the group we've got this utility making anything below 101 Hz mono. If you look at the kick, it's quite a high transient kick. So what I mean by that is quite a sharp transient at the start, as in there's a lot of stuff going on at the very tip, and then it goes into quite a thumpy boom. This is one of the big Z kicks and is being processed quite heavily, so a lot of saturation, and there's also a boost at about 316 Hz, so it can punch through the mix. I've then got this bass, sounds like this. I cover this in a lot more depth on another tutorial which we'll be getting soon. This basically is the patch, so it's a basic mini shape, and that's pretty much where all the sound is coming from. We've then got this EQ taking out some of the low end, boosting the high end, just brightening it up a bit. We've then got this utility which is doing nothing, so you can just ignore that. We've then got this auto filter, so before the drop, and then on the drop, so I'm taking out some of the low end before the drop. We've then got this side chain to the kick, just so that the kick can punch through, and again with another EQ taking out some of the low end and boosting a bit more of the highs. Great, we've then got this bass in the intro. And so if you listen to this, so essentially what we've got is that same bass. We're taking out some of the low end and we've got way less notes, so we've cut out all of the notes, so we're just left with these. And what's making that effect is this return channel delay. So it's a 3-point delay, and the dry wet's obviously to 100 because we're on a return, and the feedback's up quite high, giving that effect. This is exactly what they do in the original. Yeah, in terms of the actual notes as well, here are the actual notes. I've just copied them by ear to the original Careless track, so if you want to copy that you can. We've then got the drums. The drums in the Careless track, we've then got the drums. The drums in the Careless track are very percussion focused, and there's like a lot of shakers and sort of loops going on. So let's dissect what we've got. We start here, we've got a hat, basic hat. It's got this effects rack which is making it louder, but really not a lot to it, just a basic hat from my Production Hut Tech House pack. We then got another hat, it's an open hat, again bit of saturation, bit of boosting. We then got this ride, this is just sort of acting as percussion. Then got this clap. The clap has this delay, so again another 3 delay, slightly less feedback. If we look at the automation, so it's got some delay on it already, but at some point into the track Again, I've done this exactly where they've done it. Around 17 bars, they just bring loads of delay into it. But yeah, it sounds pretty cool. And then under that, I've got this clap. This has no delay on it, just a normal clap. So yeah, we've then got this percussion, which is very subtle. Just sort of added that in, that's not even in the original. This is where we get to the magic. So this is just a loop I found, I think, from Splice, and it's a tops loop. Unluckily, because it's got that sort of shake and maraca scratchiness, it does two things. So it's adding like the movement and also adding a sort of a bit of percussion. I then felt like it was still missing some of like the tambourine sounds that you hear in the original, so I've added this tambourine sound myself. All it is a tambourine soft hit and the midis hitting like this, so I've automated the velocities, and I've also added an auto pan, so it's going from left to right, just so it gets its own sort of rhythm and space in the mix, and then sidechain to the kick. But yeah, there's a lot of percussion going on in the original, so I've tried to replicate that as best as I can. We've then got the vocal. I've ripped this straight from the track. And also this part. The vocal is actually from Avant Separated. This has been sampled so many times, and I didn't realise it was actually from this track until I looked it up out of curiosity. But yeah, this goes on throughout. I've added an auto filter because although the drums keep going and there's not that much variation in the drums, they try and keep the rhythm bouncing throughout. There's a lot of automation in the vocal, so although it's very simple, it's effective in keeping the track moving forward and fresh for the listener. We've then got this cathedral, just because without it it's quite dry. We've then got this delay, so if you see the dry wet towards the drop. Yeah, and that about covers it for the vocal. Pretty much goes on throughout with a lot of auto filter bringing it in and out. We then move on to the strings and pads. Go together, they sound like this. Maybe over here. Open up a bit. Okay, so the first one is made in M1. It's just a preset called strings. Kept it all stock and the same. Then got a reverb on it, a sidechain to the kick. Taking out the low end and this auto filter, which sort of fades it in and out. We've then got this pad that sits underneath. I've made this in wavetable. It's just a basic sort of pulse wave sawtooth with a filter on it, which, as you can see here, increases, sort of build tension. Increasing also is this unison amount. So if you hear it here, it sort of makes it sound like detuned, so sort of like bees in a hive. This basically helps before a drop to build tension. We've then got it running through a reverb, and again with a side chain, and again taking out the low end. We've then got this bell, which I did struggle with. So the notes look like this. So I just got gone random in the key of G minor, just sort of seeing what works really. Yeah, there's not a lot to it, but it's not spot on. But we've essentially got this glockenspiel basic, cutting out some of the low end, cutting out some of the top end because it was extremely harsh. We then got the reverb, basically softening the sound without it. We've also got this delay, so the 1-3 delay on here. And again, sidechain to the kick. And that about covers it, apart from the master. I'm not really mastered it, as you'll be able to hear. I normally master with ozone, but I know a lot of you guys don't have ozone, so I just sort of start this on it. We've got this EQ8 boosting up some of the high end. We've got this utility making it a bit louder, and this limiter making sure it's not clipping. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, guys. I appreciate you. Cheers. Bye bye.